In the previous video, we analyzed the man-oriented pressing of Roma under Gianpiero Gasperini. Today, we will focus on how Napoli under Antonio Conte structures their first phase of build-up and the specific solutions they use to break this man-oriented pressing structure. In possession, Napoli sets up in a 3-4-3 structure. The goalkeeper actively participates in the first line, while the wide center-backs and wing-backs position themselves asymmetrically, functioning as close support options for short build-up. The two central midfielders start behind the first line, but one has the freedom to drop into the first line. This movement is designed to pull the direct marker out of position and create space within the opponent's defensive structure. In the front line, Napoli consistently uses opposite movements between the winger and the striker to destabilize man-oriented marking. Against Roma's individual defensive references, this pattern forces the wide center-backs to step out aggressively toward the wingers, opening space inside or behind the defensive line. The striker serves as the main reference in these situations, either for link-up play between the lines or for direct vertical passes into depth. Against Roma's man-oriented pressing, the use of the goalkeeper to create numerical advantages is fundamental. Here, when the goalkeeper draws the pressure onto himself, Napoli can exploit a numerical advantage. The left center-back becomes temporarily the free man, even though the opposing forward seemingly blocks this passing lane with his circular movement. At this moment, a central midfielder drops in frontal support, activating the third man, the left center-back, who becomes a temporary free player and can now accelerate the attack. In the front line, a clear pattern emerges. The winger initiates an inside-to-out movement with the specific goal of dragging the wide center-back out and creating space inside the central corridor. Meanwhile, the striker positions himself as a frontal reference, ready to receive the ball and link up play between the lines. After the ball reaches the striker, the ball-side winger performs a counter movement. First, he threatens depth behind the defensive line, then executes a counter movement and positions himself as a frontal support option, ready to receive facing forward. This movement deceives his direct opponent and allows Napoli to accelerate play. Once Napoli enters the offensive half, the team demonstrates a collective pattern. The three center-backs and central midfielders push up quickly, maintaining a compact and balanced block while supporting the attacking phase. Again, the central midfielder drops into the first line, pulling his direct marker out of position to create space within the opponent's defensive block. In the front line, we can see the familiar inside-to-out movement by the winger, aiming to drag the wide center-back away from the central corridor, while the striker positions himself as a frontal reference to link play between the lines. When the ball reaches the wide corridor, Napoli is ready to play quickly to the striker in frontal support. A key detail is that the wing-backs operate on their opposite foot, facilitating first-touch connections and gaining an advantage in these duels. Another detail, during the first half, Napoli lost several balls in their defensive third through vertical passes, with midfielders too far from the play to contest second balls. Now we can see Napoli connecting again, with Højlund as the central reference, but this time with passes coming from outside to inside, allowing the central midfielders more time to advance and contest second balls. Immediately after the ball reaches the striker, the ball-side winger activates a counter movement again, threatening depth behind the defensive line, then stops and positions himself as a frontal support option, deceiving his direct opponent and receiving the ball facing forward, ready to accelerate play. The same pattern emerges. In the front line, we can see the winger initiate an inside-to-out movement again and create space in the central corridor. The wingbacks play on the opposite foot relative to the flank, facilitating first-touch connections and gaining an advantage in duels, while the striker positions himself as a frontal reference for immediate link-up play. Immediately after the ball reaches Højlund, the ball-side winger executes a counter movement and positions himself as a frontal support option, providing a solution to receive facing forward. Meanwhile, a central midfielder can advance into the space behind the opponent's midfield, becoming an additional passing option. Napoli successfully breaks the opponent's press and looks for goal opportunities, with 3 to 4 players consistently arriving in finishing positions. And that brings us to the conclusion. If you enjoy this type of tactical content, follow my analysis platform, link in the description. See you in the next video.